Welcome back to the movie theater lobby. I'm Leia.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're going to have a What You Did Say episode on Bring Her Back.
Yeah, Bring Her Back, the follow-up, sort of. It is a follow-up, not directly sequel to Talk to Me, but a follow-up project from the same director duo. Twin brothers who brought you Talk to Me.
And their names are Danny and Michael Phillip. Interestingly, when I was looking at these directors, every once in a while, I get a little surprise like this.
Yeah.
And these two started their careers doing YouTube videos. And they're actually called Raka Raka. That's their YouTube channel name.
I didn't look to see what an origin or what a meaning behind that is.
I didn't
but
either.
That was the YouTube handle that their channel went by.
Yeah. From Australia. They're both from Australia.
Adelaide.
It just surprised me because this movie I really liked. Really liked this
yeah.
movie.
Oh, I did too.
And I really liked Talk to Me too.
Yeah, they've done exactly 2 full-length feature films, and they've knocked it out of the park twice.
It completely out of the park, yeah. If you haven't seen Talk to Me yet, you should see that one as well. That was a 2022 film, their film debut. Spectacular film.
Super, super good. Now, before we start digging into this film, I kind of want to know, do you prefer Talk to Me or Bring Her Back?
I don't have a preference.
No?
No, I feel like they're separately different enough that I like them both the same for different reasons.
Yeah.
They're just both really great
They're
films.
both really good,
but one of them is more about self-loathing and depression and kind of how that affects a person in the realm of the supernatural. Whereas the other one is a very similar concept. There's a woman who's depressed. She's very sad, but she takes things way too far.
Yeah.
They're different concepts. So yeah, I think I like them both the same, but for different reasons.
Yeah, I'm very similar with you on that. I do think I give just a slight edge to Bring Her Back. Very
and I was going to go the other way.
Where are you?
I was going to go with Talk to Me.
I've talked to a few other people who just barely prefer Talk to Me as well.
All right.
So you're not alone.
No, I figured it wasn't.
But Talk to Me, I think it had a more, there was more comedy built into it, which is great. Horror and comedy go really well together, and still super well composed and put together film. This one, I think, was a much more serious in tone.
It was very serious in tone. There was a few scenes in it where you're like, that's funny, but it's funny creepy. Funny
funny unsettling.
Yes, yeah.
And I feel like this one just delivered more of the really creep aesthetic that I like. Whereas the other one, it had a lot of supernatural elements, and there was a lot of... The scare came from the intense dealing with supernatural.
Yeah.
Whereas this one sort of involves supernatural, but boy, is this one unsettling on just a interpersonal human being level.
And both films have the same kind of feel to them in terms of grief and death and coping with what happens after somebody dies. You know, it's like, who's left behind? What do they do with that?
Yeah,
you know?
like survivor's guilt kind of stuff.
Survivor's guilt, yeah.
I guess with that question out of the way, let's just kind of begin going through this film.
Yeah,
kind of just commenting on, for those people who are still not familiar with our What You Did Say style episodes, it's our more kind of personal thoughts and feelings. We don't strive to...
a bunch of facts.
We don't strive to rate or critique these films. We're just kind of giving you our thoughts.
This is how I feel about it.
Maybe things we thought about while we were watching the film, the themes in films.
Yeah.
Kind of that's our style for these things. So this one starts with a very...
Before we start with
that. No, go ahead.
Before we start with that, I've been really interested in what titles people give films, what kind of films they are, horror, what genre the films are. And in looking into this film, I discovered a whole new genre that I've never heard of before.
Okay.
And you probably have. Psycho-biddy. This is a psycho-biddy film subgenre.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't know what it's, I guess it combines elements of horrors and thrillers and women's film genres. And so films in this genre, they typically have a formally glamorous older woman or more mature woman who's at some point become mentally unbalanced and goes crazy on people around her.
I never would have expected that would be a subgenre.
But I never heard of that before, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I admit I'd heard of it in the past, I've never really dug much into it because, sometimes when I hear these subgenres, I'm just like, okay, well, someone gave another smaller label to something else, okay,
but it
cool.
is interesting that people have these labels for these movies, and it's nothing I ever think about, but I've lately been thinking about it a lot just because it seems like every film has its own little subgenre.
Yeah. It's really hard to put a lot of films into
a
specific categories.
One category.
Sometimes you got to really drill down to be like, okay, this is what this film is. But
unless the director comes right out and says, this is what it is.
Right, yeah. Yeah, point blank, that's it.
Blank.
Psycho Biddy out of the way. This film, it opens with a very unusual styled scene where you're kind of unsure of what you're watching. Half-naked people in the really dirty, grungy, dilapidated building chanting in languages that you're just unfamiliar with. Dilapidated building, unsettling looking people.
Yeah, you're like, what is this like weird culty like...
And you're not given any context.
Satanic.
Yeah.
It's like they're having rituals. What is going on?
Really unusual.
Yeah.
You're not in that very long because eventually they just kind of cut to a rather
sunny day.
Normal looking day.
Where we meet
Piper.
She's so cute.
She's super cute in this film.
Yeah.
By the way, her first and only film so far.
I know. She was asked to do this. They were looking for somebody who was vision impaired.
Yeah.
And I think her mom came across it or something, decided to do
it. A Facebook casting call.
Yeah, and they just did it, yeah.
Yeah, so the actor's name is Sarah Wong. She plays Piper. And boy, she did a great job. I think it was really cool that they got a genuinely vision impaired person.
I did too,
to do this role.
Yeah, well, they're going to sense and see the world in a way that a vision capable person wouldn't be able to, and that I think lends itself to the filming a little bit better because I remember hearing the director saying that they really concentrated on sounds when they had Piper in screen, and they would focus on her hands, they'd focus on her feet, they'd focus on her like nose and lips because like smell and taste are still things she has. And so I think you wouldn't have gotten the same feeling from somebody who is not vision impaired versus somebody who is.
Yeah, and she doesn't have to act as someone who's vision limited.
She is.
Because she is.
Yeah.
I think that was
really well.
a really great addition.
Yeah.
Piper, she interacts with some girls at a bus stop and she chats them up, trying to be friends, trying to be friendly. And of course, the girls make fun of her, which is just stupid.
Kids are mean.
And then her brother kind of whisks her away.
So then we meet Andy, her brother.
He talks about the girls as if they were being kind to her. He tries to...
protects her, puts a bubble around her,
Exactly,
basically.
trying to soften the blow a little bit.
Something tells me Piper is not buying it.
I'm sure she probably sees through the bullshit.
Yeah.
But she appreciates...
that he's trying to protect her. Yeah.
Shortly thereafter, this kind of nice interaction... Tragedy strikes, and they find their father dead, direct from the shower. So just
full
really
frontal nudity, vomit
really
everywhere,
uncomfortable
it was
situation.
Super gross. Yeah.
And we see throughout the film, we see Andy always having a very difficult time when it comes to dealing with the death of his father in particular.
Yeah.
It seems to always shut him down. It seems to always be on his mind.
But we learn out later that it's because he did not have a good relationship with his father.
There was some trauma there.
Yeah.
So we find the siblings being put into the foster care system. Initially, their foster counselor, Wendy, wants to separate the two.
Yeah.
Because Piper has been found to be a good match with a woman named Laura. Because Laura also had a partially sighted daughter who had passed away.
Laura doesn't want teenage boys.
Laura doesn't want teenage boys, particularly troubled teenage boys. And we find out that Andy had some small, minor run-ins with the law when he was younger. But Andy says, hey, I've turned things around. I was stupid. I was young. I was impetuous. I swear I'm good. Please just give us a chance. Don't separate us.
Yeah.
He said, when I'm 18, I want to apply for custodianship.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Yeah.
That they live with the foster family for a few months because he's 17
he's nearly
and going to be 18 in just a few months. Apparently, in the background, Laura concedes and she agrees to let them both come stay with her. They show up and unusually, Laura's not quick to answer the door.
No,
because music is blaring in the house. She's having a dance party basically. The house is very well put together. It's very clean, very presentable. Seems like a really lively house. And then they discover that there's another foster child named Oliver. And Oliver is a very unique child. Very quiet.
Yeah, she blames it on childhood trauma.
Yeah.
That he, doesn't speak because he can't, because he's mute.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't speak. He doesn't really react to stimuli.
Yeah.
The way most people would.
Right from the get, though, when they walk in the door, you get a sense that she really doesn't want Andy there. She takes a picture with all three of them, but she covers Andy's head up with her face. She has like little jabs that she puts in there, like she's trying to make him feel unwelcome.
Laura is, as a character, is the queen of gaslighting.
Oh my God.
This whole film may have just been called Bring Her Some Gasoline because she is gaslighting the hell out of everybody.
The directors had said that when they brought Sally Hawkins, who plays Laura, in, she actually wrote so many notes in the script that they kept it, because it was just like she made a Bible, because she wanted the character to have some form of life.
Yeah, yeah.
And they really credit her to making this film what it is, because with the picture at the beginning, that was her idea. They had taken pictures, with all three of them. And then she's like, well, let's try this. And she put her face in there, and they're like, that's perfect, because that's like a little subtle jab at like, hey, I don't want you here. It's
beginning immediately.
Immediately. Immediately get a sense that something is off.
Yeah. She's really putting a ton of attention on Piper.
Yeah.
And just wants to edge Andy.
Yeah.
And Ollie just seems to be a child who is in the periphery the entire time. Like, he's not even cared for necessarily.
She just puts him in a bedroom.
Yeah. You get the feeling that this woman should not be a foster parent already. Not even knowing the underlying idea. Just from that alone, you're like, how is this woman getting placed with any children?
So did the woman that sent these kids here, Wendy, did she not know that Oliver, she didn't know anything about Oliver?
Again, folks, with these What You Did Say style episodes, all spoilers, no spoiler warnings. We just get right into everything. So we find out later that Laura had told Wendy her nephew,
that's right,
Oliver,
that's what it was,
has come to stay with her.
Yes.
Because Oliver, she does have a genuine nephew, Oliver. It's not the same Oliver.
Well, and she even says at the beginning when she's describing what Oliver looks like to Piper, he's red, he's got red hair, he's got freckles, like whatever the describers were. She was describing her nephew, her actual nephew, not Ollie. And then of course Andy is just like,
he's like,
haha,
what the hell are you talking about?
That's cute, like he's not because Oliver looks,
he's got shaved head,
he's got scars, he's got a weird birthmark on his face, he just, something's not right.
Not the child she was describing.
Not the child she's describing, no.
From the get-go, Laura is trying to sabotage through a whole really elaborate series of gaslighting
Bro, the
activities.
Peeing thing was, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow, that is genius and psychotic at the same time.
Yeah. So a few times in the film, Andy's character wakes up to having wet the bed.
And she's like, oh, you must be troubled. Something's really wrong.
Yeah. But later it's revealed she's pissing in a container and pouring it on him at night.
She's doing it to him to make him feel crazy.
Wow.
When he tries to hide it in the laundry, she's like, what is this? Like trying to make him feel really bad about it, but not at the same time. It was like total, like you said, gaslighting.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I understand.
Yeah.
But
you wet the bed.
You're
really
older and you shouldn't be probably wetting the bed. You should see somebody.
Yeah.
Like she's really making
a production out of it.
Yeah, and it's her the whole time.
Oh, it is.
Oh my God.
So Leia, the funeral scene.
Oh my God.
How uncomfortable was that?
Incredibly. Honestly, if I had seen that as a person looking in, I'd have been like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So Piper says goodbye to her father, just in a very normal, standard, obvious way. Andy doesn't seem to want to.
No.
He's content saying goodbye in his own personal way.
Yeah, which is how everybody should be able to say goodbye.
Right. You grieve your own way.
Yes.
No one should tell anyone else how to grieve. But Laura decides, no. There is a way to grieve, and this is it.
This is the only way. And then cuts some of his hair
And then
off
cuts off a lock of his hair.
pocket.
Which, that'll come back in a minute. So she more or less forces Andy to the casket. And in doing so, she forces Andy to look at his father. And then she goes as far as to say, hey, you have to kiss your loved one goodbye.
This is how it's done.
She goads him into kissing his father.
Uncomfortably.
Yes.
So weird.
And he refuses, flat out refuses.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to kiss him on the lips. Do it. Like, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, chill out, lady. But after he refuses to do so, she does.
Yeah.
She kisses their father on the lips. But that was another, like, you're watching that scene, you're like, what Why did she snip his hair?
Yeah.
Why is she kissing this man on the lips?
Yeah.
Why is she insisting that Andy kiss it? What is going on with this woman?
This woman's crazy.
And then directly after that, takes the kids, Andy, who's 17, and Piper, who's much younger, to get drunk. She buys a bunch of alcohol.
They were having a
way of bonding and grieving and letting out their loss.
That was actually the least weird thing in the movie.
That was very least weird.
I wouldn't recommend doing it, and
right.
I wouldn't do it with my kids. Of all the weird stuff that happened in this film, that was the least weird.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, so they're having a good time. This is
I know parents
cute.
Who've bought booze for their 14-year-olds in the past. Not to say that it should happen, but
it happens.
It's happened. I've never seen anyone cut hair off of a dead person before.
And feed it to a child?
And feed it to another child.
Yeah. No, never seen that before. We learn more about Oliver, too, throughout this whole thing. You know, Andy and Piper are never really formally introduced to Oliver in a sense. I mean, they get introduced to him at the beginning, but then it was like he's just not there.
Yeah, he's just this child that's there.
So when she goes and, like, I think she leaves to take Piper to...
They go shopping. Laura, before she leaves, she says, don't let Oliver out of his room. But Andy, he's like, this kid's got to be hungry.
Yeah.
Andy is really, he's a genuinely sympathetic person.
Yeah, he's genuinely cares about people. So he wants to get to know Oliver.
Yeah.
And...
So he breaks into Oliver's locked room and brings Oliver into the kitchen. And he figures, I can't talk to Oliver, but some people who can't speak can still write.
Yes.
So he gives Oliver a pad and a pencil, and Oliver...
And what does he write,
Oliver
Brandon?
writes bird. As a viewer,
okay,
and as Andy, you're like, what the hell does bird mean?
Yeah, okay, bird.
Andy thinks, okay, hey, breakthrough. As an incentive to continue to write.
Yeah.
He cuts up some melon and oddly hands the whole knife to Oliver with a piece of melon on the end of it.
Yeah, which most kids would have just bitten it off the end of it.
Right. But Andy hands the entire knife over to Oliver and then turns around. And when he turns back,
ooh,
Leia,
this is a terrible scene.
I don't cringe
Not much.
too much. But when you see somebody full on chewing on the blade of a kitchen knife, and the teeth are shattering, and you can hear it, and the gums are being cut by this horrible kitchen blade.
I think that was probably the hardest scene in this whole film to watch.
Yeah, definitely among the top for sure.
Oh my God.
Andy, of course, freaks out.
Yeah.
He was not expecting this in no way. So he's trying to pull the knife out of Oliver's mouth. Oliver's holding on to the blade, so fingers and hands are being cut. He eventually gets the knife away, and he rushes
him to the hospital,
Oliver
like
to
what you would
his
do.
car.
Yeah.
When he does so, there's a white line,
like a salt line, almost.
Sort of circling the property. And when he crosses this line to get to the car, Oliver collapses and starts seizing, and he shouts out, "Help me!" The first time he says anything, and it's "help me." Now
and you start to get real concerned.
Yeah, now you're
like,
wondering what the hell is going on. Laura with Piper arrives just at this moment.
This is, I think, about the same time I realized that the beginning of the film probably has a lot to do with what's going on with Oliver. Like, you kind of have it in the back of your mind the whole time. This is the scene in the movie where you're like, all right.
Because even in that opening, there was a white line that you could see in the video.
And people were seizing on the ground. And
Laura, rather than putting Oliver in her car and then rushing to the hospital, instead takes Oliver back inside the house. And takes him to a back room and locks the door with the two of them inside, locking Andy and Piper out. So you see Laura put on a VHS. And on the VHS, you see somebody in a very similar state that Oliver is in at that moment, kind of rubbing their head a little bit. But Laura begins doing the same thing, and it calms Oliver down. It pacifies Oliver. Yeah. So she sort of bandages him up a little bit and just leaves him in the room. And then you would expect that she would react more large than she did, but unusual that she didn't
it was just
immediately lash out so much. Yeah, it was a big reaction, but it was not as big as you expected it to be. You understand later on why, because she's not about to go reporting Andy for this, because then that would invite people to come investigate her home. So she's not looking to get Andy kicked out, because that causes waves. She does not want waves. She sort of handles the dispute herself kind of quietly. After all this commotion, Andy, of course, wants to get cleaned up. He's got all of his blood on him.
Well, he still hasn't showered.
Well, yeah, that's right. He's been afraid to shower.
He's been afraid to shower because that's where he found his father. And every
dead
time he
from
would
the shower,
he'd have visions of seeing his father dead in the shower.
So now this one time when he is genuinely showering, he sees his father walk in. And Andy does hear his father speaking to him. And we as the viewer, kind of going along this ride, we're led to believe that it's possibly just a hallucination.
All in his head.
But there might be something more to it. Just remember, their father's hair was fed to Oliver. So
then Andy, eventually he passes out from this experience and ends up in the hospital.
Hits his head.
Yep.
Laura takes him to the hospital.
Yeah.
A good way for Laura to get him removed from the house.
Yes, and to make him look crazy. She's trying to get him removed from the house permanently.
Without needing the inspectors to come check out her house.
Yes.
And what a way to do it.
So then it gets extra weird.
Yeah, so while Andy is in the hospital, Laura takes Piper to this locked shed.
She brings her back inside and takes her into one of the rooms where I think there's a bunch of boxes.
Room. She takes her to Kathy's old room.
And she gives Piper Kathy's old purple sweater that used to be her favorite sweater.
And she says, "You look great in it. Would you like to keep it?"
Yeah. You remind me of my daughter. I mean, just really being sweet. And of course, Piper, not knowing what she just experienced, thinks that Laura is just a really
really
loves
kind woman.
her.
Yeah. Just wants to make her feel comfortable, giving her some things that her daughter, loved but can't use anymore, obviously. But she even goes so far in that very moment to say, "Oh, you can call me Mum if you want." And Piper, of course, feeling very unsettled, says, "Oh, well, maybe someday, but not right now." So, you can see Laura twinge at that a little bit, because Laura desperately wants somebody to fill that daughter role.
Yes, yeah. And somebody who's like her daughter.
Yes.
Her biological daughter.
So Piper has limited vision, Kathy had limited vision. They're both really about the same age even.
Yeah, and both very sweet and
both
kind,
very sweet and kind, yeah. So this shed that we've seen Oliver try to get into before.
Yeah.
And there's a freezer inside. Laura's biological daughter, Kathy, also had limited vision, and she drowned in the pool.
The pool, which
in the backyard.
The pool, I gotta say, seems like a whole character itself.
It really kind of is.
They really gave that a very prominent place in this movie.
Yeah.
Because it is a character of itself.
Yeah.
You can see it out every window. It's prominently in the backyard. Oliver's been seen in it. They walk by it several times. You have to go by it to get to the shed. Yep. I mean, it's big.
It is rather central to a lot of what happens.
Yeah. We see the freezer in the shed.
Laura opens up the freezer and has Piper kind of feel inside.
What's in the freezer.
And she tells Piper it's just meat. It's not just meat. It's a little more significant than just meat.
Go ahead, just say it.
It's Kathy's dead body.
Laura's been keeping her dead daughter in a freezer.
Yeah. We get to learn a little bit more about the VHS tape along the way. You sort of put together, it's never really explicitly told to you, I don't believe, but you sort of put together that this is a resurrection ritual. So you have a dead person, somebody who's possibly significant to you.
Yep. And their soul is trapped in there.
Right.
Which is why she's in a freezer.
So at the funeral, Laura even says to Andy, there are some cultures that believe a soul is trapped in a dead body.
What great information to put in the film so early on.
Exactly.
Because you don't realize it till later.
Yeah, you think it's just, religious mysticism or something of that nature, comforting religious belief.
Directly important.
Yeah. Now you're learning more about the whole thing. You can, from that soul trapped in that body, have it delivered to a new host body. But it has to do so via a intermediate possessed person.
So gross.
So now you can definitely put together Oliver is that intermediate possessed person. There is an entity. You wouldn't say demonic or angelic or anything of that nature.
Just an entity.
There's an entity
that has a driven force to do its task.
Yes.
It's all it wants to do. It wants to get that task done.
Yes.
Which is why you see it going to the shed and you see it staring at Piper. You know, like it has a task. It knows what it needs to do. It's just not being allowed to do it.
Yeah. It's not particularly malignant. It's not beneficent.
No.
It's just there to do a thing.
Yeah.
Now you can completely understand what is going on here. Laura is trying to resurrect Kathy and put Kathy into Piper's host body.
It's also the time where you realize that Oliver is probably not a foster child.
Right.
Not related to her.
Yeah.
And that she stole this poor kid.
Yeah. And this is why Oliver has been so hungry. Because whenever you see Oliver looks starved and waifish. And it's because Oliver has to be filled by consuming the corpse
of Kathy.
Of the one that is looking to be the target resurrected person.
And then he's supposed to vomit it.
And then vomit it into the host body. Yeah. So it's...
No big deal.
It's a big task.
No biggie.
When you've got one job,
yeah,
Leia.
And you can't do it.
Right. You get a little frustrated. Hence the chomping on the knife. So Andy comes back from the hospital. And that night, Laura...
Oh my God, she does...
When they went shopping, they had bought a cologne, a perfume for Andy as a gift.
Yeah.
Laura takes that scent and sprays it over Piper and puts it on herself and then punches Piper in the face.
And then walks out fast.
And then walks out really fast.
Yep, so Piper didn't know who it was. And
right.
Of course Piper's blind too,
yeah,
so she can't really... Or limited
she's only,
vision,
yeah,
so
partially
really
sighted. So she can't see who it is.
Yeah.
And it's dark. It's nighttime.
She can smell it.
But she can smell it.
Yeah.
Immediately thereafter, Laura comes running to Piper's room. Oh, well, obviously only one person could have hit you.
Yeah, if you smelled that cologne, it had to be your brother. Wouldn't have been me.
Right. So then here the gaslighting continues. The insane gaslighting continues. And at that point, Andy has sort of had enough. The next day, Andy goes to talk to Wendy, their counselor.
He leaves to get help. He's like, this is insane.
I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
When he's at the...
He knows that Laura punched Piper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's very aware.
He knows.
Yeah.
So he's like, this has got to... Yeah. She's crazy.
Something's got to change here.
Yes. But at this point, all he knows is that she's crazy.
Yes. He thinks she's just purely insane.
Yeah.
At the welfare office, he sees a missing child poster of a child that looks very familiar to him. The name of which happens to be Connor Bird. So...
Like the word he wrote on that piece of paper?
The word he wrote on the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Andy knows precisely who this child is. It's not a child named Oliver. It's an entirely different child named Connor Bird who's missing. So he takes this information to Wendy and explains the whole deal. And Wendy wants to just ignore and push aside the whole thing. Because she knows Laura. She used to work with Laura. Laura's a good person. Laura had lost her daughter, and she's gracefully taking care of her nephew. But with enough prodding, she says, okay, fine, let's go check it out. They arrive at the house, and on the way to the house, Andy had called Piper on her personal cell phone.
Yeah.
And he sort of laid out a big apology saying, hey...
Yeah, left a message.
Yeah, left out a message. She didn't pick up. So he left this message saying, hey, I'm really sorry. Laura's crazy. She's holding this child named Connor Bird. It's not Oliver. Our father, I have to apologize to you because he used to hurt me. He used to beat me.
He laid it all out.
Yeah, he used to be physically abused.
No more lies. Yeah.
No more lies. That's been their kind of ethos the whole time, is no lies between each other.
What was the word they used?
Code word, grapefruit. Yeah.
Code word, grapefruit, meaning no cap.
Like, hey, you're lying to me.
Yeah.
This is your chance to come clean.
Yeah.
He knows something's wrong. Not precisely what's wrong, but he knows something's very wrong with Laura. We find out Laura had taken Piper's phone. So Laura is listening to this message. Laura had, just previous to this, been assaulted by Oliver. Because Oliver's on a tear. Oliver,
he's hungry.
The entity inside Oliver is over it.
I mean, he's eating his own skin.
Yeah,
he
was eating a countertop.
It's a wood. Yeah, I mean,
which was also entirely disturbing because you saw teeth chipping and popping and.
Don't think about it.
and then he even bit Laura in the arm. So. Laura is running around like crazy cleaning up the house to make it look like nothing in the world is wrong. And Andy is insane. He went on a
super tear. That's right.
Yeah.
She was gone.
He was throwing stuff around the house, just destroying everything.
Sports game or whatever. When he
taking
got out.
Her to her. There's a
goal ball.
Yes.
So that's right. Yeah, he went in the fridge, tore the. Everything was just a mess.
Just making a mess of the house. Yeah. Oliver also then breaks into the shed while Laura is being distracted, trying to clean everything up, and Andy and Wendy are arriving. Laura is doing her best to put on her fresh face forward. She
puts on a robe.
Showered, everything like that. She starts leading Wendy through the house saying, look, nothing's wrong. Everything's perfect. Andy is crazy. Yeah. Andy is the problem.
I've been a little under the weather, but otherwise it's fine.
It's then that Wendy notices Laura's hurt.
Yeah.
Her arm is cut, bleeding. So then she starts to suspect a little bit more. And then Laura begins to slowly lose her grip. And they start talking about Kathy. And Laura begins to especially lose her grip, and she says, I can bring Kathy back.
Yeah, and that's when Wendy's like, uh-oh.
Wendy's like, what are you talking about? And that's when they discover the shed is open, and upon discovering the shed is open, we see Oliver literally in the freezer eating.
Andy and Wendy walk into the shed, and Andy and Oliver is just going to town on eating.
Chomping on
poor Kathy in the freezer.
Little Cathsicle.
Cathsicle.
So pretty gross.
Pretty gross.
But now you understand this ritual is well underway. The entity is taking everything into its own hands.
Yep.
It wants to get this over with. Laura, of course, can't let this happen. So she can't let Wendy leave.
In watching this, I feel like there was a part of me that was like, this is a movie that really speaks to the lengths that a parent would go to see their child come back to them. Yeah. And I know at the end she realizes that everything she did was wrong.
Yeah.
But, like, these are all things that are going on in her head in the moment. Because all she's trying to do is grasp at that last straw.
Yeah, she wants her child back.
She wants her baby back. And I'm not saying that she's right.
No.
I often wonder if I was in the same position, what kind of crazy things I would do if I knew there was a way to bring my kid back.
There is a level of sympathy.
There is.
Now,
absolutely there is.
To steal a child, technically stealing 3 children,
yeah.
in order to use 2 of them, whose lives you will be ruining,
yep.
to bring back your child, that's not a length I would go to.
No, it's not a length I would go to either. But I do look at that and go, okay, well, there are lengths that people would go to. And I feel like this is not out of the realm of a length that somebody might go through.
Certainly. If this were a genuine method of reviving your child, I could absolutely see people doing this.
Absolutely, yes.
Without a doubt.
Wendy and Andy try to get away.
Laura can't be having that.
No.
So
if they get away, it's all over.
Yeah. They get in the car.
They didn't even get to the car. They were running to the car.
Was that it?
They were. Yeah. And Laura takes Wendy
that's
out.
right. Yeah,
And Andy just happened to be in the peripheral.
Vehicular homicide.
He got hit sort of
He also takes a secondary hit. Wendy is for sure dead.
Oh, you see her,
She is completely murdered.
I mean, if you've ever seen a deer get hit by a car at full force.
Yes.
Like, whoa.
And
it was very shocking.
You see Andy lying on the ground severely injured.
Apparently dead. You look at him and you're like, oh, I didn't think he was hit that hard, but he is.
But he is really messed up.
He is messed up.
He's unable to move, but he's still alive.
Yeah.
Very near a small, incredibly shallow puddle.
But he is such bad shape.
Laura simply just drowns him.
Yeah.
In like a few inches of water.
I'm sitting there watching him going, oh my God. I didn't expect that to happen.
And I also didn't expect it. But when that happened, you already understood in the film that in order for the person you're looking to resurrect, it needs to go into a host body where that person had died in the same way. Laura's child, Kathy, had died by drowning. Mm-hmm. Now Andy had died by drowning. I was like, well, okay, great. Now she's just going to put Kathy into Andy's body and not have to kill Piper. Because, I mean, that would be easy. You already murdered one child by drowning them.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and do that. But, of course, to Laura, you're not getting Kathy back that way.
No. That's not Kathy.
Now Piper knows what's happening. So Piper is fighting against Laura.
Yeah.
Oliver had stopped eating Kathy and had taken at least a few bites out of Andy. Mm-hmm. Because we hear in the house, Piper hears Andy calling to her. So she goes to see where Andy is so they can leave together. Because she didn't know Andy had died.
So that's why the hair thing was significant too, right? And is this where you'd realized that?
Yes, because this entity that possesses this intermediate host, it can mimic the people that it has consumed. Mm-hmm. It mimicked Andy's father's voice when it ate Andy's father's hair.
Okay.
Now it had taken some bites out of Andy.
Now it can mimic
Andy's voice. Piper ends up being lured into the house again, and she finds Andy dead on the bathroom floor. Now, she did genuinely hear his voice. It's not like she was hallucinating. So you do know that it was genuinely Oliver who was calling her.
Yeah.
Because Andy obviously was not
Andy's
making...
voice.
Yeah, Andy obviously was not doing the calling out. So it was Oliver. It had to be, because it couldn't have been Laura. Laura is insane, but she's not supernatural. Mm-hmm. In this momentary lapse of reasoning, Laura is able to finally recapture Piper, and then Piper ends up hitting herself, knocking herself unconscious on accident.
And she
tries to escape. Yeah. She wakes up after Laura had carried her to this rapidly filling pool.
Dragged her,
yeah.
I was like, wow.
We see Laura holding Piper just barely above the water, sort of explaining to her that, I'm bringing back my daughter. This is for my daughter. I don't want to do this, but I have to. I need Kathy back. So she attempts to drown Piper. As Piper is struggling, she kind of last breath calls out, "Mom!" That stops Laura dead in her tracks, because that's what she's been wanting this whole time, is somebody to call her mom, Kathy to call her mom. That moment really woke Laura up as to what she is doing.
Yeah. And there was a scene in the movie earlier where she said, "I'd give anything to hear my daughter just say my mom.
To call me mom again.
Call me mom one more time. Just one more." She said, "I'm not asking for any more than that. Just one more time." And it was like that one moment she shouts out mom. She felt like, oh my gosh, this is somebody else's child that I'm doing this to. What would they wouldn't want to, not have their child ever be able to say that again. Totally. You could see her demeanor change immediately.
Instantly. Piper is released, and Piper ends up getting away and finding a
car on the road
couple
somewhere,
driving by. They're seeing this really distraught girl, and they take the time to stop and help her out and call the authorities.
Call the police.
The police show up. They arrive just as Oliver had crossed the white line.
The white line, yes.
And begins seizing again. And
so when you cross the white line, you turn back to who you were before. That's why he was seizing, because that's that demonic being or creature or whatever that is. That's it's coming out.
Yes.
It's leaving.
The white line is keeping the entity in that vessel.
Yeah.
So Oliver is seizing, the demon is releasing, and Oliver is returning to Connor.
All I could think of was how traumatized that little boy is going to be, because if you see the ending, he's just eaten an entire child, and his belly, he looks like
distended.
He looks like a 9-year-old pregnant boy, because that's how much food is meat, dead person is inside of his stomach. And then he crosses over that line, he throws it all up, and he's conscious. The amount of trauma.
You imagine that Connor is still, the entire time, still somehow conscious,
during
just
all of this,
unable to control his body at all.
I don't even want to know,
because
what this kid's got to go through.
The moment when Andy had forced Oliver across that line and he shouted, "Help me," or when he wrote "bird," obviously Connor's in there.
Somewhere.
He's just watching this whole thing happen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's nightmarish.
Yeah, it was, to me, one of the worst parts of the whole thing was this realization that this child just went through all this. And he's an ancillary character in that he's not, it's hard to say, he's not the main focus. You know what I mean? He's part of the plan, but he's not the main focus, but literally he is the one that has got the worst of everything that's happened to him. He's got the worst deal
of the whole bunch.
It's really sad.
Oh my God.
His name is Jonah Wren, and I thought that was funny because
bird.
Connor Bird.
Yeah, so the actor's name is Jonah Wren Phillips. Well,
I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I thought that was fun.
Laura takes the remains of Kathy and returns back to the pool again. Police show up and surround Laura and the dead Kathy, and obviously at that point they never tell us what happens with Piper, but certainly she's put into foster care again, because now she no longer has a brother who's almost 18. She has no parents.
Sad for her too.
Sad for Piper. Extremely sad for Piper.
Yeah.
The only light at the end of that tunnel for her is the fact that she did not die.
Yeah.
At what
Even
cost?
Listening to the message that Andy left, I mean, that had to be hard for her too.
Boy, what a traumatic incident. For all intents and purposes, that's bring her back.
I was looking at the cast on Wikipedia. So we got Andy and Piper. Jonah Wren Phillips played Oliver. The guy who's Phil, who's Andy and Piper's deceased father. His name is Stephen Phillips. Oh yeah,
he is the child who plays Oliver. That's his actual father.
That's his actual father, right? Okay, all right.
I do want to say just a few things. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because we talked about these two brothers and how they've done two really banger friggin' films.
Yeah.
They've been on record as saying that they have dropped hints that this movie and Talk to Me are in a shared universe, a shared world.
Okay.
They do exist in the same world. They've dropped hints about it, but they said there's something coming up, another project they're doing that will elaborate on how these are connected. They also did say, and I don't know if you had read this too, in Talk to Me, the souls existed in that movie were predatory lost souls. So they were malicious beings. And they had said in this film, the entity that's in Oliver, they were kind of confirming the fact that the entity inside Oliver, it's not good and it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's there for a task. It's there to perform this purpose. That's what it's there for. It's not there to be evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there to do good. Mm-hmm. It's not there to save you if you're drowning, you know. It's there to do its thing. That's it. Completely neutral. So I thought that was just a very interesting distinction. All right, Leia, we did good here?
Yeah, this was a really good movie.
Yeah, I love this one.
I think you guys, like I said, I think the scenes with Oliver eating weird things.
Yeah,
the teeth.
It's
and
hard
blood,
to watch.
That was really icky to watch. Yeah. Outside of that, though, there's really nothing else in this film besides like the opening where the father dies. That's like traumatizing. Yeah. You know, you're like, all right, so like everything else is more psychological.
Yeah. Just sit down and watch a woman be really horrible to some children.
Yeah. You know, didn't have anybody else's feelings in mind besides her own.
No, completely self-absorbed the whole time. All right, folks. Well,
thanks for joining us in the movie theater lobby.
Thank you for joining us. You know, if you haven't seen this film, we just spoiled the whole damn thing for you, but watch it anyway.
What you did say?
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this movie as well, or any other movie that we've covered. We love hearing other people's opinions and thoughts and considerations.
Even
about
if we
films.
don't personally agree, I think it's cool to hear what other people feel about a film.
Yeah, I love hearing people who disagree entirely.
We'll be talking about another film, The Menu. We'll be talking about that coming up. Mm-hmm. That was one where he had said, you know, like, it's someone's opinion of the film, but it's art regardless. Yeah. And I feel like the same way is true for almost all movies.
Oh, I agree.
They're art pieces, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yep.
So I love hearing people's opinions on it. If you hated this movie, I want to know why.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come at you.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I just want to find out.
I'm not going to try to convince you it's good. But I do love hearing people's opinions as to why they did or didn't like something.
Absolutely.
Anyway, thank you for joining us here. We'll see you again next week on
The Movie Theater Lobby.
Bye.
Bye.